Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are so officially back. Welcome to Upate News, your favorite series where I bring you the latest in Trailmakers news from official sources and compile them into bite-sized chunks just for you. This week, the public got its first look at the schedule for the upcoming dev diaries, and they are as follows. The first one happened today on the 22nd of May 2025, and they talked about the free content. Next week, on the 28th, we'll be taking a look at the first of two DLCs. June 4th marks the stream where we'll be looking at the second DLC. And finally, on June 12th, there will be another Devs vs Creators, presumably Johannes and Creed vs Scrapman and Yuzi. Now, all of that sounds well and good, but this also means that we can already take guesses as to when the update is scheduled for release, and personally, I think it's going to drop smack dab in the middle of June on the 19th. But with speculations out of the way, let's have a look at the facts, and we'll start by watching the traditional start of stream teaser trailer. Would you have a look at that? Of course, please be aware, as always, that things shown in these diaries and videos are not yet final products and subject to change, so take all of this information with a pinch of salt. First and foremost, we are getting an all-new game mode called Deathmatch, where the aim is to destroy your opponents and chickens to gain points. And whoever achieves the winning point threshold first is the winner. Per default, that is 100 points. The server host can determine what kind of vehicle everyone drives, which only really determines which spawn points the game uses. For this game mode, there is a panel of settings that you can tweak on the fly during the game if you are the host. Speaking of settings, the multiplayer tabs are also going to look vastly different. The quick play feature shall be removed, only leaving custom servers to choose from. Said custom server interface has received a new look and a plethora of new settings. Pause to take a look. For this new game mode, the much beloved new map Great Carrier Reef will be the only map to host this mode, but most importantly, it has been overhauled and updated to better accommodate the deathmatch mode, as well as the aforementioned new spawn points. On stream, Johannes briefly showed this updated version of the map, so let's get a side-by-side comparison of the current version versus the new version we'll be getting. Furthermore, during the weapons showcase, which I'll get to in just a second, we got a brief look at a crisp new visual effect for underwater explosions, which looks like this.
Torpedoes.
Mini torpedoes.
These names are still not subject to change, so to speak. So we need to make sure that there's a defined difference. Oh, whoopsie. Goodbye.
All right.
Yes.
Cool.
Now onto the meat and potatoes of the previous point, the weapons. These four weapons are the only free blocks coming in this update. For underwater, we have the regular torpedo and the mini torpedo launcher. The mini has 4 attachment points in a square arrangement on the back. The regular one is basically an underwater rocket launcher. For everywhere else, we have the small and regular flak cannons. They fire the same projectile as the red balloons and turrets from the Airborne campaign, so at long last we finally get to make accurate recreations of those. As for official information, that's all she wrote. However, we have a couple of leaks to go over before I wrap this up. The first, coincidentally, also being the first leak ever for this update, which looked like this. This item on the ground appears to be a landmine that came from a dispenser underneath the vehicle that drove past. This next leak shows off a new visual effect. It appears to be a new muzzle flash for the minigun. If we are to assume good integrity and consistency from Flashbulb games, there is probably going to be a new muzzle flash for all of the guns. Finally, we have this clip. This appears to be a setting for the already buffed distance sensor, which buffs it even further still. It allows us at very long last to be able to ignore terrain with the distance sensor. I believe it does still see the terrain, but it only sends a logic signal if the thing it sees is made of blocks. And on that fantastic revelation, it is time to end. Thank you all so very much for tuning into this week's Update News. Today we went over the free content coming to the PvP Part 2 update. My name is Upate, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.